John Ernest Steinbeck Jr. was a famous American writer most widely known for his novels The Grapes of Wrath, East of Eden, and Of Mice and Men. Authoring 27 books throughout his life, Steinbeck received the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1962. Steinbeck was born February 27, 1902, to John Ernst and Olivia Hamilton Steinbeck. Steinbeck grew up in the small frontier town of Salinas, California. During the summer, he would work long and hard with migrant workers on nearby ranches. This difficult and lonely occupation set the scene for his novel, Of Mice and Men. After attending Stanford University without receiving a degree, Steinbeck returned to California in 1928. There, he met a woman named Carol Henning, and the two were married in 1930. They remained together throughout the majority of the Great Depression, the time period in which most of Steinbeck's novels were set. Carol was forced to work very hard in order to support herself and her husband, who continued to write rather than get a full-time job. In 1940, Steinbeck and his friend Ed Ricketts went on a voyage throughout the Gulf of California to collect marine biological specimens, another one of his passions. Even though Carol accompanied Steinbeck on the trip, she felt their marriage was becoming overstressed and filed for divorce in 1941.
She went on with her story quickly before she should be interrupted.
Another time I met a guy, and he was in pictures. Went out to the Riverside Dance Palace with him. He says he was going to put me in the movies. Says I was a natural. Soon as he got back to Hollywood, he was going to write to me about it.
She looked closely at Lenny to see whether she was impressing him.
I never got that letter,
she said.
I always thought my old lady stole it. Well, I wasn't going to stay no place where I couldn't get nowhere or make something of myself, and where they stole your letters. I asked if she stole it too, and she says no. So I married Curly, met him out to the Riverside Dance Palace that same night.
She demanded.
You listening?
Me? Sure.
Well, I ain't told this to nobody before. Maybe I oughtn't to. I don't like Curly. He ain't a nice fella.
And because she had confided in him, she moved closer to Lenny and sat beside him.
Ten days after his divorce with Carol became finalized on March 19, 1943, Steinbeck married Hollywood actress Gwyn Conger. With Gwyn, he had his only children, Thomas Miles Steinbeck and John Steinbeck IV. Throughout 1943 and 1944, Steinbeck was a war correspondent in the Mediterranean and North Africa. In 1947, he made several trips to the Soviet Union, working with renowned photographer Robert Capa. In 1948, Steinbeck made an emergency trip to visit his old friend Ed Ricketts, who had recently been in a bad car accident. Ricketts died just before Steinbeck arrived. After returning home, Steinbeck was informed by Gwyn that she had filed for divorce for various reasons, mostly due to his frequent and extended absences. In August of 1948, the divorce became final.
A girl was standing there looking in. She had full rouged lips and wide-spaced eyes, heavily made up. Her fingernails were red. Her hair hung in little rolled clusters like sausages. She wore a cotton house dress and red mules, on the insteps of which were little bouquets of red ostrich feathers.
During the June of 1949, while eating at a restaurant in Carmel, California, Steinbeck met Elaine Scott. The two were married in December of 1950. Their marriage lasted until Steinbeck's death in 1968, which was due to a congestive heart failure. He was a lifelong smoker, which was likely the source of his heart troubles.
George said,
Yeah, she's gonna make a mess. There's gonna be a bad mess about her. She's jailbait all set on the trigger. That Curly's got his work cut out for him. Ranch with a bunch of guys ain't no place for a girl, especially like her.
Steinbeck's 1937 novel, Of Mice and Men, reflects much of his own personal experience and worldview. The way that he feels about women is clearly shown in the way that he portrays his female characters, especially in the character of Curly's wife. Her lack of a name, her underdeveloped personality, and the lack of emotional attachment felt by the reader all point towards Steinbeck's derogatory view of women.